Morning.
They have a movie theater. They have people around. They have a poultry. They always
What is going on? What is good, my people? What is good? What is good? What is going on, freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, and freedomers? Snapzilla gorillas up in the building, hitting y'all upside the head with this here morning paper. Getting my ruck on as I have this discussion with you all, because this discussion needs to happen. You understand what I'm talking about? This discussion needs to happen. So we're going to talk about it here on my channel today. Give you guys a minute to file in. Today I'm rucking, got about 65 pounds on me. So, it's a good amount of weight in the morning. It's a lovely morning. A little warm, it's almost 80 degrees right now. But, we keep it moving, we keep it pushing. We keep it moving, we keep it pushing. Whether it's cold outside or warm, we get our fitness on. It's important that we stay fit, y'all. It's important that we stay fit. Tell you guys a little story about something that happened to me yesterday. Tell you a little story. Come on and make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. Don't be stingy with the like button. You know what I mean? Go ahead and hit that. So, I'm at the gym with my son yesterday. And we're doing the free weights. So we do the free weights and then we head upstairs to the little turf section, because now we're about to do some drills with the medicine balls. And there was this one medicine ball in particular, 30-pound med ball, and it's one of those bouncy ones, right? But it's 30 pounds. And I've used medicine balls before. So you have the softer ones. Then you have the ones that are firmer and they bounce a little bit. Well, I picked up a 30-pound one and just tested it out, right? To see how much bounce it would have. And I slammed that motherfucker in the ground a little too hard, and it bounced up, hit me in the chin, like with a whole lot of force. And I had, my lip, I had my kind of like my lip in my mouth, and then of course when the damn thing hit me in the chin, I bit my lip. So that was fun. That was fun. So now I got a little, and this was yesterday, man. This was yesterday. I'll tell you what, I got a hell of a chin. Anyway, so what do we have What do we have? Well, we know that we are currently at war with Iran. And at this point, they're not even being shy about it. When I was talking about this Iranian war a few months ago, doing a Rucking Live like I am now, a lot of Trump supporters, a lot of Trump knob gobblers came and told me it wasn't a war, right? Told me it wasn't a war. And this is not a war. Because of course, this whole thing, this campaign is completely illegal. What Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth is doing right now on the behalf of his elite puppet masters, on the behalf of their elite puppet masters, on behalf of Israel, on behalf of Zionists everywhere, is highly illegal. But you know, if the people aren't going to hold him accountable, why would the system he's using to commit these crimes hold him accountable? Make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. So you have to ask yourself, because when we talk about what we need to do as a people to make change in this world, to make change in this country, we talk about doing things that won't make any change, right? And so we have to understand what changes really need to be made now. A lot of reports coming out in the Gulf of, I think it's the Strait of Oman, over there in the Middle East. We have to talk about the conditions of the sailors aboard that aircraft carrier. We also have to talk about the length of time they have been at sea without a port of call, right? So we're talking over 200 days, which is a record. That's a record. But not only is that a record, not only have they been out there for a record amount of time. Solidarity, America, vote blue. See, this is what I'm talking about. Vote blue. This is the solution for people who see Donald Trump as the problem. Is to, oh, well, Donald Trump presents as a Republican, a conservative. So we have to vote in the perceived opposite direction. That's the thing. Now, and we see how that has worked out for the last 250 years, right? Voting in the opposite direction. That's worked out so well. Anyway, they have been out there over 200 days. Not only that, but we have to talk about the conditions they're living under. The conditions. The lack of food, which are extremely tight quarters in the first place, right? So even when these aircraft carriers are fully stocked, even when they're operating as they should be, they're very confined. So there's a reason the rotations are short. Well. Gotta love it, y'all. Got to love it. I have never had issues on this path I'm walking. I never had connectivity issues in this place where I'm doing my ruck. Where I do my rucking lives, I never had issues. And, you know, I've rucked here every time. All centralized systems, absolutely. How you backpacking through a small park? What are you talking about? What? How am I backpacking through a small park? First of all, this is not a small park. And if I were backpacking through a small park, the way you do that is simply by backpacking through a small park. Good morning. That's how you do that. You backpack through a small park by backpacking through a small park. Is this an Air Force ruck? I don't know what that means. Anyway, so these sailors have been at sea on the USS Lincoln for over 200 days. They're living in horrible conditions. They're living under horrible conditions. They don't have toiletries. They don't have food. They have food, but they're running out of food. Do you understand? They don't have a lot of food. Now help me understand this. Because Donald Trump was able, and Pete Hegseth, was able to increase the military budget. But you can't feed the sailors on the USS Lincoln well enough. You can't make sure that they're supplied with food and toiletries. If you're going to keep them at sea for 230 something days without going to port, you can't deliver goods. You can't make sure they have the basic necessities. You can't make sure they're living in clean conditions where mold is not growing in the showers and all that. Help me understand this. Now, someone said that an Air Force ruck is 5 pounds. Well, this damn sure ain't no Air Force ruck. Damn sure ain't no Air Force ruck. This is closer to 70 pounds. So congratulations, you played yourself. Yeah. And I see my comrades, Coach B. Husson, Coach of the Truth Tellers in the building. Salute to you, brother. You cannot win a war like that. They don't care about the people. No, they don't. And this is what I was saying last week when I did my ruck. Because, of course, we had people in here defending the actions of the cabal that is initiating this war and perpetuating the war vis-a-vis Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. Because, of course, they need a face for the people to blame to keep the heat off of them. Because make no mistake, the heat has never been placed on the powers that be, ever. It's always been placed on the face they put in front of you. And in these days, that face is Donald Trump. Not to say he's blameless, but he's not the only one to blame. So, but no, they don't care about the people, much less the sailors aboard that ship. But I had people in here last week telling me that they could commit this bombing campaign. And I told y'all, you don't win a war by bombing the shit out of the opposing country with ballistic missiles over and over and over again to get them to capitulate or surrender. Not a country like Iran, and not with ballistic kinetic missiles. No. You can't do that. Because at some point, see, you're using the strikes, the airstrikes, to soften the targets, to soften the country, and prepare for ground invasion, for the most part. If you're trying to, what they're trying to achieve is, they want control of the Middle East, right? They want control of the Middle East. That's what they want to do. Well, in order for that to happen, they need to completely topple Iran, the Iranian government, and Iranian leadership, right? And so you have to there's only a few ways that's going to happen. And one of those ways is to completely wipe the country out, right? Which is not something they want to do, because they need Iran, the land itself. They need it intact, right? Iran, the Iranian government, Persia in and of itself, is strategic. You don't want to completely eradicate. You don't want to level the whole country. See, they can do that to Gaza, right? Because they want to rebuild. They can do that to Gaza because the only asset that Hamas had that kept them, right, from being overrun by Israel were the tunnels, right? Which Israel helped build. So it was the tunnels. Well, in Iran, you have the mountains, you have the desert, you have highly defensible positions. You have places where they can hide their missile silos. You see, Iran is shrouded and cloaked by its geography. You understand? And so you won't be successful trying to bomb the shit out of the country itself and then think that you're just gonna run in there and take over. No. It would take a strategic, surgical ground invasion, right? It would have to be purposeful. And they know we don't have it. We don't have the capability to do that in a country like Iran because of the terrain, right? Because of Iran's knowledge of the terrain, because of the drones that they're cheaply able to make. They train you in boot camp in the Navy if you can't get resupplied. Do you think submariners have it any easier? But that's why I joined Seabees. No ship time unless amphibious. What do you mean they're trained? They train you in boot camp in Navy if you can't get resupplied. Well, a boot camp training is not going to prepare you to be at sea for 200 plus days, right? 200 plus days stuck in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of a gulf somewhere where not only are they running out of food and supplies, right? Listen, there are things that, if medical supplies, what happens when sailors get infected with something? What happens when sailors get sick, right? What happens to the morale? What happens to their mental capacity? Boot camp can't prepare you for shit. Boot camp is to prepare you for service itself. See, they do that in the Army, in boot camp. You march out to the woods and you hang out there for like 7 days with MREs and that's it. And you're not getting resupplied. But do you think that would prepare a soldier to be stuck in some foreign country for 200 something days without resupply, without toiletries? 200 plus days. Now, and this is why the strategy that our government is trying to use to win against Iran is not going to work, because we don't have the resources or the supplies to sustain these manner of strikes for this period of time, where on the on the Lincoln, ships are constantly coming in and out. And so these sailors are working. They're on the deck most of the day. I don't think y'all understand what hell that is. And I don't either, because I was never a sailor. I was in the Army. None of this makes sense. Things can be flown in. You would think so, right? You would think so. But no, because of the jets that are performing the strikes, the jets that are flying in and out constantly throughout the day, they don't have room or time. And they probably are bringing supplies in. They probably are. Just not enough. Not enough. See, this is why you port every so many days, right? So that the guys can get off the ship, so they can fully restock, so they can fully focus on restocking the ship with the things that are needed. Get it nice and clean, sanitized. Can't do that if you're out there for 230 something days. And for the last 5 months, these jets have been flying, coming in and out throughout the day in, day on in. I think there was a 2-week break where we stopped strikes at some point. You would think, oh, that's the perfect time to replace the Lincoln, right? And so that these soldiers can get a break, these sailors can get a break. But just now, Donald Trump is telling us, oh, well, there's another ship just like the Lincoln coming in to replace it. But then he tells the reporter, because the reporter asked him, do you think they were out there for 200 plus days? Do you think that's too long? He said it's not long enough. And he was smiling kind of, right? Kind of to give you the impression that he's joking around. But at the end of the day, dude don't give a shit about the soldiers. You need to get, if the ship, yes, it's needed, right? The ship life sucks to begin with, even with everything in training and routine operations, let alone wartime. Yeah, absolutely. But of course, people like P. Heseth, they're going to downplay it. They're saying, oh, it's being exaggerated. Tell that to the wives and the mothers that are speaking out. That are getting emails from their spouses and children to complain and talk about the horrible conditions on the ship. Let's talk about the suicides. Let's talk about the attempted suicides, where they've had to stop a number of sailors from jumping off the deck into the water. Well, at least one was successful, most recently. And you can actually look this up, where his wife is talking about it. Basically, sent her a suicide letter explaining that he can't take it anymore. Now, this is what Donald Trump would do. Somebody like Donald Trump, if he heard that, would say, oh, well, he was weak, right? He would shit on that sailor. You can't believe how pussy this country has become. Says more power. They don't want to win the war. They want a deal to prolong it forever. I agree with that. I agree. You can't believe how pussy this country is. Yes, it's pussy, but not in the way that you're probably making it out. Right? See, Donald Trump is pussy. Because he wouldn't take his orange ass onto a ship like that for 200 and plus years. Yeah, he wouldn't do it. So yeah, Donald Trump is pussy. And he is a reflection of the people that support him, that are pussy, right? Anybody that would defend these conditions being allowed to continue is pussy. Yeah, so I hope you're talking about that, sir. Susan, my brother, coach of the Truth Tellers. This whole country is pussy, yeah, because of motherfuckers like Donald Trump, who rally people around him that are just as pussy. Like, Lindsey Graham. Cats like that. Cats like Lindsey Graham, who was a warmonger, but would never step foot in somebody's hot war. But he wants you to send your sons and daughters to go to war, or he wanted. May he rest in peace. He wanted to send your sons and daughters to slaughter to help with the Israeli agenda in the Middle East. And that's why we are at conflict with Iran, because of Israel. The fact that we act on Israel's bidding is what makes us pussy. You absolutely right. You absolutely right. This whole country is pussy because instead of really working to make real changes, y'all just want to go out and vote. Y'all want to wait. We can't do nothing until election time. Yeah. Voting is for pussies. Yes, sir. I said it. Because that is the only way you feel you can make positive change for you and your family and your community. Yes, vote for yourself. You're an absolute idiot, says William Lee. Explain to me how. Explain to me how I'm an idiot. Don't time him out and don't block him. Let's give him an opportunity. Give him an opportunity to tell me why I'm an idiot. I would love to hear it. Here comes an Andrew Wilson disciple. What direct evidence do you have to support your claim? You, sir, are a conspiracy theorist. What claim do you want evidence for? That Donald Trump said that they haven't been out there long enough? Go look it up. He said it to a news reporter. Now, you can go and find out how long they've been at sea. Over 230 days. What claim am I making? What evidence do you need? Go check it out. Go check it out. What are you talking about? Out of Donald Trump's own mouth. The level of disrespect and the disdain Donald Trump has for the military men and women is very well documented. What was it? What evidence do you need? Go find it. I'm rucking. I'm telling you what I saw and what I heard, what I read. If you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. If you want to challenge it, all you got to do is go look it up. Good morning. If I was at my computer, I would be showing you, but I'm not at my computer. See, I'm telling you something that is out there. It's public knowledge. What are you talking about? What evidence do you want for what? Someone says bullshit, I disagree. Disagree with what? What's bullshit? How does it feel to know the Indian temples represent wormhole travel machines and their engineers? Totally true. We're all alien hybrids. Maybe. Life is more important than death. Trump is a selfish dictator, an idiot. Yeah, he is. he is. He is the dictator they put in front of you to believe that he's a dictator. This is what we have to understand. Donald Trump has been bought and paid for. Now you're probably going to ask evidence for this claim. You get to look this up as well. Donald Trump, Rothschilds Inc., because of the failure of the Taj Mahal, right? In order to avoid bankruptcy and become flat broke, he got bailed out by the Rothschilds Inc. And guess who? Guess what individual with Rothschilds Inc. handled the bailout for Donald Trump? Wilbur Ross. Now you're gonna. They essentially, real, did they not? Here we go. Here we go. Very interesting how I've never had connectivity issues during this particular ruck before, and now I'm just having all kind of connectivity issues. Very interesting. Yeah, go look that up. Rothschilds Inc. bailed out Donald Trump. He's bought and paid for. Not to mention he's part of the elite class, right? You think these guys are separate? You think Joe Biden and Donald Trump play on different teams? You think Obama and Donald Trump play on different teams? You think George W. Bush, all these guys, Reagan, y'all think they are on different teams? They're not. Did you think that George Bush, the Bush family, and the Bin Laden family, do you think they were on separate teams? They're not. They weren't until the Bin Laden said, fuck you. We're not changing the deal. See, the corporate system known as the United States wanted to finagle the agreement with the Bin Ladens. And when the Bin Laden didn't want to capitulate, well, a lot of things lined up. A lot of things that lined up in perfect synchronicity. It was like kismet. They were able to knock out multiple birds with one stone. Enter 9/11. And then you go from there. But these things are public knowledge. Yes, Rothschilds Inc. bailed out Donald Trump. The Rothschilds basically founded Israel, the place you call Israel today. These are things that are known. Look up the war in Palestine of 1948, 1946, 1948. Look at what they did. Look at what the Eastern Europeans, the non-Semites, the non-Semites, the Eastern Europeans, the skis and the skas, they ran all up and through Palestine and basically colonized it. And they did it with the help of the U.S. government and the Rothschilds. These things, I forgot what they called it. I forgot the term for it. I got it queued up and downloaded on my computer for a presentation I want to do one day. These things are known. So help me understand what evidence you need of. America is a curse for this world. Absolutely. Biden is history. I agree. Biden was never a thing. This is what we have to understand. Biden is not a thing. Donald Trump is not a thing. If Kamala Harris was president, she wouldn't be a thing. These people are play actors. If y'all didn't hear the story of my adventure yesterday at the gym, I had a 30-pound medicine ball that I wanted to do some drills with my son. Well, I was going to use a 30-pound. He, of course, was going to use a lighter weight. But nonetheless, it was one of those bouncy medicine balls that should not have as much bounce as this particular medicine ball had. And when I slammed it into the ground, it shot up and hit me in the chin right here. Just right there, bam. And I ended up biting my lip. So that's why my lip looked crazy like that. And I got to tell you, it's healing up nicely, considering that it just happened yesterday. So, I mean, the swelling, very little swelling. My lips are already big, so I don't need more swelling there. How much am I carrying? About 60 pounds, 65 pounds. Well, it wasn't a slam ball. It was a slam ball is the balls that don't bounce. The softer balls that don't bounce at all. I wanted some bounce because I wanted to slam it into a ground and then, throw it. I just had some drills in mind and had way too much bounce. It was like a fucking basketball. No one's crying about it. Did I once complain about my lip getting busted? See, you just mad because I heal well. And it didn't really hurt. You know what I'm saying? I did have a little ache in my jaw over here, but that was nothing. I got a hell of a chin. The Balfour Treaty created Israel. Yes, that is true. All wars are banker wars. Absolutely. Yes, fuck Israel. I agree 100%. America is the best country on the planet. Even those who hate it don't want to move out. You know what? I never argued with that, Cosmos. My position was never that America was not the best country. As a matter of fact, if you go back through my archives and go back through my live streams, you'll hear me say, this is the best country. This is the best tyrannical country in the world. As far as tyrannical countries go, this is the best tyrannical country in the world. Yes. Any country with a government, this is the best one. You're absolutely right. 100%. And it's not because the government itself is benevolent and it loves you and it just wants the best for you. No. It's because of the people. Yes. See, we already have it in us to end the tyranny. Because see, even though tyranny can only exist if the people allow it to, I will say this about the United States. The people of the United States Corporation. Yeah, we only allow so much tyranny. And it's because of us that this country is the best. It's not because of any policy of the politicians. No. It's because, and this is actually something I do believe, the framers of the Constitution wanted the tools in place to prevent the level of tyranny that they want to commit towards us today. Yeah, they put some safeguards in place. Because see, the direction this country headed in, they foresaw this. They said, no, we don't want the centralized power to be so, to have so much leeway and so much control of the people. So we'll put some safeguards in place. And so this is the reason. Well, there's a constitution. It's just paper tiger, right? We only exercise. See, a lot of the Bill of Rights, a lot of the amendments in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, are only as powerful as we believe them to be. See, it's fiat, right? So the Bill of Rights, in the first 10 amendments, right? the Bill of Rights is only as useful as we put faith in it, as we believe in it, right? And they will shit on the Constitution if we allow them to. The problem is certain amendments, they can't just shit on it. Why? Because of the amendment that's in place, the Second Amendment, the most important one, prevents them from doing something. So, yes, the Second Amendment is the most important amendment because it is the amendment that allows us to defend every other right we have. Yes, the right to keep and bear arms is the only right that we can exercise that will allow us to defend every other right. And so, because of that, we have the best. We have the best tyrannical, this is the best tyrannical country, absolutely. Someone says free speech is more powerful. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because without the freedom to keep and bear arms, you can't defend your free speech. No. The right to keep, and it's not even just the right to keep and bear arms. It's the right, because we're going beyond the Constitution and what the Constitution says. The right to defend yourself and protect your freedom by any means necessary. That is the most important. That is the most powerful. Not the freedom of speech. Because the freedom of speech cannot protect you from someone trying to infringe upon your freedom of speech. Does that make sense? Right? So if someone wanted to come take my shit and I didn't have the means to defend myself and all I had was my mouth and they had more tools, right, to use against me to take my shit, my speech is not going to stop that. Period. So, but if I had the right, or if I exercised my right to defend myself by any means necessary, with any tool I feel is necessary or deem necessary, well, it'll be a lot harder for you to come take my shit than if I just told you not to. Someone says I'm nuts. Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Esau and Amalek have absolutely nothing left but their weak, pathetic, broken pride. Even their delusional Edomite underlings are turning to despair through the self-deletion. Am I mixed? Well, I am a foundational Black American. So yeah, the average foundational Black American has 25% European blood. So yeah. Because of chattel slavery and because of the graping of, the indigenous folks of this land and the people they shipped over here. Yeah. Because of the mixing, the forced mixing, the breeding, right? Yeah, because of all the atrocities, committed against my ancestors and foundational Black American ancestors. Yeah, we're mixed. I don't know why that's important. Yes. So, Cali, Maine, New York, Connecticut, all hellholes that trample our Constitution. See, this is what I'm talking about. The government of every state tramples on the Constitution. Every single one. Do you know Abraham Lincoln let's go back to one of the OG Republicans. Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus so that he could detain his political opponents for as long as he saw fit. Yeah, that was a Republican. I'm just going back to one of the OG constitutional infringements. Yeah, he suspended habeas corpus to detain, hold, and arrest his political opponents without charge. Without charge. Yeah, that's that. Every single state in the union infringes and violates the Constitution. They just do it in different ways, right? Like in the state of South Carolina, for instance, which is a red state. One way they do it is by allowing these corporations to build factories and processing plants and data centers. And what they do is they pass the energy costs that these corporations, right? The energy costs that these corporations that they cost, the energy usage of these corporations. Guess who gets passed the bill for these multi-billion-dollar corporations to use the energy? They pass it on to the citizens. So the average taxpayer in South Carolina is going to be paying higher energy costs, not because their usage went up, but because the data center or the processing plant or the battery plant, their energy usage went up. And so what they said was, we don't want to pay these energy costs. Make the taxpayer do it. See, that's an infringement. Yeah. Every state violates the Constitution. Every single one. Every single one. And then you have to think about this. The Constitution in and of itself is a contradiction. The Constitution in and of itself is a contradiction. So we can't rest on our laurels and hang our hats on the Constitution to free ourselves. Because they'll just wipe their ass with that Constitution, and then they'll have some judge interpret it any way they want it to. Oh, because that's what happens, right? The Constitution clearly says this. This clause in the Constitution, in this article, in this amendment, whatever you want to say, this particular clause clearly states this particular thing. But they'll create laws that violates and goes against that clause. And then when it's challenged, right? When that violation is challenged, they'll take it through the courts. And then, good morning. Then a judge decides on, they decide how that clause is interpreted. But it's very clear. What interpretation do you need? What interpretation do you need for the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed? What interpretation do you need for that? Why do you need a judge to tell you that that's necessary? Why do we need to interpret this? Why do we need to interpret there shall be no law that violates freedom, that violates our right to free speech? Why do we need an interpretation for that when it's violated? Where the fuck Or are you two-way people on January 6th? Let's get one thing clear. I'm not a two-way person, right? I'm not a two-way person. I am one who believes that everyone has the right to equip themselves for their own defense by any means necessary. I don't need the Second Amendment to understand this right, to understand this freedom. Reject all programming, says the lunatic libertarian. Absolutely. America will be better after Trump. If you guys think that America will be better after Trump because an election, because you elect a new president by voting, you just don't understand why we're in this position in the first place. And that's really the sad thing about it. It's really the sad thing about it. Because after 250 years of voting, this is the end result. After 250 years of voting, we still haven't gotten it right. I'm a fence-sitting egotist? What is that? What fence am I sitting? I'm an anarchist, period. There is no fence. I don't go near the fence. I'll let y'all do that. I'll let y'all worry about the two sides of the fence. I don't concern myself with that. Yeah, I don't sit on anyone's fence. America saved Europe from Hitler. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What does that mean? Fuck the establishment Dems and fuck GOP. 100%. But not just establishment Dems, all Dems. All Dems. Yeah. All politicians. Well, I don't want to say fuck all politicians. I want to say, because there are people out there that feel like if they go out and campaign and try to push for the people, they actually believe in what they're doing. They actually want to make positive change. But that's not, it never works, ever. Why? Because the system was built for the system to rule. These so-called representatives and senators are only in place to give you the illusion of choice. To give you the illusion of choice, they put these people in these positions because you voted for them. They say, oh yeah, you come on up here. Yeah, you can sit in that chair and bloviate and pontificate. Oh yeah, just sit there, hoop and holler, and then do your little press conference to talk about how there are all these injustices. Yeah, go ahead, go right ahead. And see how that works out for you. I'll give you two examples of how that works out so great. Marjorie Taylor Greene is one example. And Jasmine Crockett is the other. Jasmine Crockett, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Both on opposite sides of the aisle from each other. And when they started to speak out, and when they started to expose the bullshit, whether it was theater or not, I don't know. I don't know Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know Jasmine Crockett. But if they were real and legit, or if they were playing real and legit, the result is the same. They asses is out. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene got pushed out, and Jasmine Crockett got primaried out, right? Because she was trying to do something else. I forgot. She quit. I forgot she quit or something. But nonetheless, everybody was looking at, especially the liberals. They thought Jasmine Crockett was going to come in and do so many great things. They thought Marjorie Taylor Greene. They thought, well, she really speaks for Middle America. She really speaks for the forgotten, the Bible Belt people, right? You thought, look at all that shit she's talking. She don't care. Look at all that. Yeah, she talking all that shit about Trump. She was an avid Trump supporter. You know what I mean? What happened? Yeah. Thomas Massey, look what happened to him. They paid billions of dollars to have him primaried. This is what happens when that real shit come through. You understand? And where were your votes? Where were the votes? Where were the votes for Jasmine Crockett? Where were the votes for Thomas Massey? Where were the votes for Marjorie Taylor Greene? She didn't even wait for no vote. She said, nah, fuck this. So help me understand. 250 years of elections, of political saviors, change and hope, make America great again. 250 years. What did it amount to? What did it amount to? Ain't shit. What do we have to show for it? Massey got sassy. Whatever you want to say. Useful idiot dipshit. Why are you talking about yourself? I don't know why y'all got to come in here and project. Going to miss Massey. What is your missing him going to do? See, what happens is you guys put your faith in these individuals that you think is going to come save the world. They can't. They have to contend with the system. See, they're trying to enter a system that they feel is committing injustices. They feel this system is flawed and damaged, and it very well is. They think they can correct it. They think at some point, oh, the system worked out so great. Oh, this is the longest running constitution. Yeah, this is the longest running constitution because they're able to manipulate it and manipulate you, right? So the reason this is the longest lasting empire, right? Because, you know, they say empires only last about 200 years at the most. 200 years at the most. The American empire has been around for 250 years. Why? Because they give you the illusion that this is your shit. Collectively. Yeah, this is collectively y'all shit. All you got to do is go out and vote. How is the vote helping the sailors right now on the USS Lincoln? How is that helping them have better conditions, better working conditions? Hey, I know. I heard it all before. Well, you signed up for it. They signed a dotted line. They volunteered. Well, so what? Right? Our government has a responsibility, right, to these soldiers that volunteered, right, gave up their freedoms, all of them, because that's what you do when you sign that dotted line, right? You become government property that they can do whatever they want with, but they also have a responsibility as well. You can't just let sailors live in squalor because they signed up. No. See, there is a responsibility. There is an inspector general. If you guys been in the military, you know. The inspector general's office, right, is kind of like internal affairs for the pigs. You know how pigs have internal affairs and the FBI has the Office of Professional Responsibility? Well, the military has the same shit, y'all. In the Inspector General's office. The Inspector General, they call it the IG, is responsible for ensuring that the soldiers, it doesn't matter what branch you're in, are living under the best conditions possible. Yeah. So even though you might sign up for, this is what they don't tell you. Oh, you volunteer, suck it up. No, that's not how that works. You have a responsibility to those soldiers, to those sailors. Spooky, I like it. You're a far going, and that is fun stuff. Far going for what? Far going for what? Far going for expressing a concept like complete and unadulterated freedom, freedom of government rule. That's far going. See, this is how programmed we are, right? Now, someone says, I say, let's fight government. I'm not going to suggest that. What I'm going to suggest is complete and total withdrawal, right? Because you don't want to lead with that. You don't want to lead with fight the government, right? No, I'm not calling for that. Just so y'all know. I'm not calling for fighting the government, just to make that clear. What I'm calling for is withdrawal from the system, right? But first you must establish autonomy, self-sufficiency. Establish that first, okay? Don't do like these so-called, what they call them? The emancipated. Oh, I got emancipated. I got my emancipation papers or whatever. You know those people that they go fill out paperwork to get permission to be free? If you have to ask permission from the government to obtain freedom, you have to fill out paperwork to be free, then you're not free, my friend. So, I forget that none of they call them, what do they call them? The people that fill out forms that to be, I forgot. You know, well, you got to go fill out the paperwork. And then when the cops pull them over, they show them the paperwork. You know what I'm talking about? What are those people called? Sound like you want to be one of those sovereign citizens. No, I don't want to be. I want to be a sovereign citizen. I want to be sovereign of self, but I don't want to fill out paperwork to be a sovereign citizen. See, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you don't need to fill no paperwork out other than the paperwork you fill out when you buy your land and you build your house and you dig your well and you set your septic tank and you get your animals and you go hunting and fishing. You don't need paperwork for that unless you're in Colorado, unless you're in one of those states where you got to pay thousands of dollars to go hunting, right? No. That's what I'm talking about. That's not sovereign citizen. No. Those are things that you can do right now. You can go buy land. You can go ensure that your land has well water. You can put up solar panels. You can set generators. You can put a septic tank on your property. You can do all that. You don't have to do, and those normal things that you can do. And once you establish that with yourself, with your family, or your community, you just withdraw. You stop, you withdraw from their system, right? You get yourself to the point where, okay, I got everything I need. I got food, I got water, I got community. We have a doctor, we have a veteran, we got doctors, veterinarians, we have electricians, we have veterans to help defend our community. You get all the things you need. We have builders, you know, you gather the community, right? You gather the community. You build as you see fit. Then you just say, All right, I don't need that system anymore. I have my community. And then you just you mind your fucking business. You don't need to go ask the government, can I be sovereign, please? No. No. You just you just withdraw. Get yourself in a position where you can withdraw, and you just simply do that. It's not complicated. People are doing it right now. People have been doing it for decades, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it. It's just that their family were farmers and ranchers, and they just continue their family's traditions, and they just stayed. They don't really need to leave their property. They don't need to go to work because everything they need is at the house. They might go to the farmer's market and sell fruits and vegetables. They might sell meat. Those are they're already doing it. And the only thing they need the government for is a permit to sell their products at a farmer's market. The farmer's market. Morning. That's all. That's all they're doing. You have examples of that right now. There are the farmers and ranchers that go to your farmer's market, and all they do is farm and ranch. And then they come to the farmer's market to sell you shit. They're already doing it. They homeschool their kids. Their kids work the land. They have veterinarians that they can call. They have doctors. They just it's already being done, y'all. It's already being done. And that's how they're used to living. This is normal for them. They don't know that they're free. Freer than us. They have acres and acres of land. Salute to everybody. Let me shout people out. Big Chris Entertainment, salute to, he says, oh, somebody else. Salute to Ken. You identify GE appliances. We're currently recruiting members for LGTV. Okay. Many are ready, more or not. This is true. There's no red team, blue team, only purple. They used to be good before the administration took funding away, says V. Well, that's the problem. And, there are farmers. See, this won't tell you this. There are farmers and ranchers that don't need government funds. You know what I mean? They just don't need it. They don't need to get fertilizer from Europe. They don't have to be affected by because we have, yes, there are farmers and ranchers. Morning. That because, and here's where a lot of them failed. Okay, they fell into the monocrop scheme. They fell into the monocropping scheme, right? They fell into the agricultural grant, right? Where you, instead of natural regenerative, you are now monocropping, okay? You're monocropping, you're clearing acres and acres of land, you're planting one type of seed, right? You are basically destroying the ecosystem. Yeah, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the smaller ranchers, the smaller farmers that do regenerative farming, where they don't monocrop, right? They grow what they grow. And they use what they have, right? They might build a greenhouse for certain periods of the year. Good morning. I'm not talking about those farmers where the corporate farmers, where somehow they got roped into existing off the government tit, which is really the people's tit. It's not government funding, by the way. It's people funding. It's funding of the people that the government extracts wealth from. So the government extracts our wealth to redistribute our wealth to whomever they see fit. So it's not government funding. The government does not produce anything, okay? They extract from those people and entities that do produce. The government does not earn money. They don't produce anything. They don't build, right? And so we have to understand where the money the government uses come from, right? Now, if the government does produce something, it doesn't produce it for the people. It produces it. It helps the corporations they are in bed with, helps them gain more wealth and more power and more resources. So the government does not produce for the people. It produces for the corporate welfare recipients, right? The corporate welfare recipients, like, I don't know, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and many, many others. And the way they do that is by allowing these corporations to monopolize, they help them by shutting down small businesses, squeezing the middle class out of existence so that they can control everything, control the supply chain, control the food supply. This is what our government does, right? It puts us in a position hello, in a few years, if this keeps up, everything that we get will be provided for by the government. Now, everybody wants to suck off Mom Donnie. I want you guys to see what they're doing, in my opinion. Okay? Look at Mom Donnie. They're going to scale look at what he's going to do. Look at me. I was trying to lift my backpack up like an idiot using this thing. I was trying to lift my backpack up so I can strap it more. And then I end up fucking knocking down. Look at my dumb ass. Anyway, look at what they're doing in New York with Mom Donnie. Okay? Because people are gonna look at Mom Donnie and they're gonna say, yeah, this is why socialism works. I need to lift my backpack up. Oh, there we go. So, if you don't know what Money is doing with these grocery stores, this is what they want to do nationwide. And you think, oh, that's a good thing because everything will be cheaper, right? Everything will be cheaper. 30% off, a 30% discount. And that's what they're doing in these grocery stores on certain items. He didn't say everything, certain items. Now, so you get these grocery stores with this discount. Is it really a discount? Let me ask you why I asked that question. Let me tell you why I asked that question. How is Mom Donnie going to operate these grocery stores? Because it is a government-ran grocery store. Is it not? They used to be good before the administration took the funding away. Yeah, oh yeah, I read that. A good exercise is to draw a pyramid. Do you have not a clue what you're talking about? You in some Dunning-Kruger BS. Anyway, explain to me, fun day kids. Explain to me. See, the next thing you write better be to explain what I have no clue of, and give me the clue. If you can't tell me what I'm clueless about and give me the clue, the next thing you write is gonna get your monkey ass out of here. How about that? Fun day. Tell me what I have no clue about and give me the fucking clue, or you're done. Don't write another fucking word. Don't write another word. Yeah, fun day. Try it out. Give me the clue. Anyway, so, because what did I say that was incorrect? Tell me what I said that was incorrect. Am I wrong when I say the government does not produce or earn money? No. What they do is they extract wealth and redistribute wealth. How? Am I wrong about that? What was it? What was it? Where am I wrong? What is still a private company heavily regulated by business? Capitalism works when it's heavily regulated. Are you talking about the grocery stores? No. You're wrong. Number one, it's not private. It's not still private. It is. These are government ran and government funded by the people grocery stores. They have not even recruited the private companies that are going to operate it. Yeah, because there has to be a bidding process. They're going to start a bidding process for private corporations to operate the grocery store. It's not private. This is a fully government-ran grocery store. 5 of them. What was it? What you're talking about are the food banks and those types of places where it might be a for-profit or not-for-profit or something like that gets funding from the government. No. That's not what this is. This is a fully government funded by the people. These are fully government funded grocery stores that they still have to start a bidding process for private corporations to operate. And then that private corporation gets some of the profit. What are you talking about? If you're talking about Mom Donnie's grocery stores, they're not private, sir. They're not private. And then capitalism works when it's heavily regulated. That's completely false. That's incorrect. Capitalism cannot exist if it's regulated by the government. If you're talking about regulated by the government. If you're referring to a government body regulating a business, that is not capitalism. See, capitalism can only exist outside of government interference and government manipulation. If the government is involved in a company's operations or a corporation's operations, that is not capitalism. That is corporatism. Yeah. And Mom Donnie's grocery stores are not private. That's incorrect. Yes, the grocery stores I'm not talking about the grocery stores in Sweden. Yes, the grocery stores like in Sweden, Denmark, and Canada, where it's 6% capitalism, there's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as part capitalism and part socialism. There's no such thing. There's no split. Those things are not mutually exclusive. They can exist independent of each other. What can't happen is socialism. Government ran socialism and the government ran capitalism. There's no such fucking thing. If a corporation uses the government to optimize its operations, that is not capitalism. You understand? Look up the definition of capitalism. In the definition of capitalism, it will tell you that it exists outside of government, because you cannot have capitalism when government is involved. Because the government will regulate as it sees fit which corporations. You understand? A perfect example is during COVID, during the COVID pandemic, during the COVID debacle, during the COVID lie, during the COVID illusion, during the COVID mirage. See, what they did was they allowed the big corporations, right, that operated these grocery stores. They allowed them to operate and deemed them as essential. But the smaller companies, the mom and pop shops, guess what they did? They made them shut down their operations. They called them non-essential. Even though they were providing the same services as the larger corporations on a smaller scale. See, the government interfered. The government forced the small business to shut down and allowed corporations to continue to operate. And then what happened? Hundreds of thousands of small businesses permanently closed, permanently shut down, permanently bankrupted, because they were forced to be closed because they were deemed non-essential. See, when the government gives incentives and kickbacks, and when these corporations lobby in Congress and lobby in the Senate to create laws or deregulate or put laws in place to regulate the smaller businesses more so that they can squeeze those small businesses out, that's not fucking See, y'all don't know what capitalism is. You just throw the word around. No. See, in capitalism, now I'm not saying capitalism companies and corporations can't be regulated, but the market, right? The market in capitalism, the market regulates. The market, the free market, the fair market regulates. So, how does the market regulate companies and corporations in capitalism? Well, the people. What makes up the market? The consumers and the providers of services and goods. So the market is made up of the people that provide the goods and services and the consumers that patronize those businesses. That's the market. There is no government. The government doesn't enter into it. The free market cannot operate under government rule and government regulations. The people regulate. So if a business is not doing what it's supposed to do, if you go to a restaurant that's patronized by people and the people sees rats and rodents all up and through that motherfucker, and they're finding hair in their food and roaches well, guess what? The people will regulate by not going to that business. So, one or two things can happen. You can get your shit together, right? You can clean your business more or provide a better service. Good morning. Or the people will stop going to your business. They will stop patronizing. They will stop buying your food. They will stop using your services. If you want to show up as an electrician and you're an asshole and you just don't provide good customer service, And guess what? Even today it happens, right? You have private electricians, right? Private electrical contractors that can come to your house and they can service your, do whatever you know, they can show up, they charge a $50, $60 fee, and they provide a service. And it's a private company, right? Now, if the electrician shows up and he's a dick, he's an asshole, if he fucks your shit up, guess what? Guess what? You have the means and the capability sure that that business pay, that there is some consequences, right? So there are pockets of free market in the country, right? There are pockets of the free market here and there to a certain degree. So if that private electrical contractor sends an electrician to your house and he drills a bunch of holes in your wall, or he's acting like an asshole, you ask him to take off his shoes and he says no, that type of shit, well, as the person who is utilizing the service, there are certain ways that you can make sure that that company is penalized for it, right? You can write a bad review. You can talk to the owner. You can talk to the people and tell them don't use them. They provide shitty service. But guess what happens if you need something from an electrician who works for the city, right? Because the problem you're having is not related to anything more downstream from your panel. The power in your house don't work because the transformer on the pole got fucked up. Or maybe there was a voltage spike and you had a bolt fault in your meter. Who's responsible for the meter? The city. Yeah. Who can you call to fix it? Can you go on Google and say, hey, I want to choose which electrical contractor comes to my house to fix the problem with my meter? No, there is only one entity you can call out to fix your shit. And and by the government. Microbe Joe says, imagine hating a system that is ripe with opportunities to learn a trade and open your own biz. Excuse me? What system is doing that? What system are you referring to? What system are you referring to? What system are you referring to? Because what opportunity are you referring to? Let me tell you. Let me finish my story, or let me finish my analogy. So, because I think you're completely missing the point, Microbe Joe. You're completely missing the point. And that's okay. That's why you're here, right? You're here because you don't agree, but you know I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But because you believe in the system, you have to throw in nonsensical sentences like you just did. Anyway, so that electrician comes out that's going to fix your meter. He works for the municipal ran electrical entity. It's not a company. It's more like it might be a company that was contracted by the government and there's no competition, right? So you can't call a different electrical contractor to come fix your meter, you can only call that once. So what does that do? This prevents competition. So that electrician and the company has no incentive to provide good service, to be on time, to work expeditiously to fix your shit. No. They can take their sweet time. They don't have to be polite. There's nothing you can do about it. You can file a complaint, but that ain't gonna do shit for you. He said, I have been chatting with your chat members. This wasn't aimed at you. We agree on 40% of what you say. Okay, that's fine. Freedom, I thought we were talking about electric. We were. I'm talking about a lot of things. First thing I was talking about was how Donald Trump don't give a shit about the military, about the soldiers, about the sailors on the USS Lincoln. And then, of course, the conversation naturally evolves into other topics based on what you guys are talking about in the chat. Because I like to engage with the chat, even with those who don't agree with me. As long as your disagreement is rooted in, not just being a contrarian or trying to be an asshole or, I don't even care about you being an asshole. But if you're going to make assertions, at least be able to explain your exertions. Like when someone tells me I don't know what I'm talking about, or I have no clue, and they're not willing to give me a clue, well, that's not productive at all. I don't need that. If you call me an idiot, that's fine. Tell me what makes me an idiot and smarten me up. If I'm an idiot, well, I would hope that you will provide me with some information that could enlighten. Anyway, he says, Indigo says, if y'all had free health, free education, and best public transport, thriving industry in 40 trillion debt, could say went somewhere, where did it go? Well, this is what I was trying to talk about with the grocery stores that Mom Donnie is starting. First of all, those are not private, right? But they will hire a private entity to operate it, which you have to understand. They got to pay these people. They got to pay the employees. They got to pay for the food. They got to pay for the organizations that run the grocery stores. %30 really a discount to operate, pay for the food that goes into. Will that 30% discount amount to? Because the shit ain't free, y'all. The grocery store ain't free. The food damn show ain't free. The employees ain't gonna be free. Every time someone says we should get free this and free that, I don't understand what they don't understand about shit not being free. Damn it, I still didn't bring a fucking towel. Once again, I didn't bring a fucking towel. God damn it. The shit ain't free. Fuck. I hate when I forget the goddamn towel, man. Nothing is free. There is no free healthcare. Single payer, dual payer, quadruple payer. I don't care. 1 6-month wait period. Look at the healthcare in Canada. That shit ain't free. They pay hellified taxes to get their free fucking healthcare. Yeah. The people pay for that. The people. Stop lying to communism. That communism the same as socialism. Oh, it's not. You're right. It's not the same. No, nothing is free. Nothing the government provides is free, right? Everything that you want, anything that you want, food, services, it takes time and laboring energy, which is a cost, energy cost, whether it be money, whether it be mitochondria activity, whether it be cells that degenerate because of the energy you're expending, stress, cortisol stress, working with your hands, injuries. So even if I had my own land and I was able to hunt and raise my own food and get my own water and maintain my solar panel, it's all work. Nothing is fucking free. Nothing you get in this world is free. So when they tell you that the government is going to give you free fucking shit, there's no such fucking thing. Nothing. There's no such thing as free shit. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. Nothing. Everything costs. I never fell into that. I don't want the government to give me free shit. Even when I was on unemployment, between jobs, and I got an unemployment check, I understood that money, it wasn't free. I actually worked a period of time to pay into it, and for my employer to pay into it so that I can use it in case I need to. That shit wasn't free money. Nothing is free, ever. Nothing is free. Everything takes work. Everything takes time. There's no such thing as free healthcare. There never will be. That is an illusion. That is an illusion. Free healthcare, that's an illusion. There's no such thing as free healthcare. It never will be. Mom Donnie's showing us it can work. Showing you what is working. What's working? See, because y'all, Mom Donnie is like, what is he doing? What is he doing that's so special? Because everything that he's providing, that he's saying he's going to do, is because the people, right? The people are going to give him the money to make it happen. Through taxation. Taxation, what are you talking about? That's how the government works. In order for the government to do anything, they have to extract wealth from you. They have to extract time. They have to extract laboring energies. So what is he doing that's working, that you can't do for yourself in your small community? What is he doing? Taking from the slumlords and giving it to the poor. What is he giving to the poor? What is he taking from the slumlords? He's taking money from the slumlords and giving it to the poor. When did he do that? When did he do that? What is he giving to the poor? Oh, y'all think that he's going to take money from the corporations to build these grocery stores? Rent freezes. And who do you think that's going to benefit in the end of the day? At the end of the day, rent freezes. Rent freezes. Because see, what this is the problem. The reason that the rent is so high in the first place is because of the government, right? The things that the government is doing is what's raising those rents. So when you freeze the rent, all you're doing is freezing it at where it's currently at. They can't just raise it any higher. He's not going to reduce the rent. You're already paying way over what you should be for rent. You're just going to continue to pay way over. No, congratulations. You're going to continue to pay the high rent for however long Mamdani's in office. And then guess what? Something's going to happen that's going to make New York hate Mamdani. And then they're going to replace him with somebody who's going to get rid of that. See, what's going to happen that he's not telling you is that he's going to freeze the rents, and he's going to drive out the wealthy and the corporations, and then there's not going to be anything left. Now, I don't agree. So what should happen is that the government should not have allowed these landlords to inflate their rent in the first place. But because of government manipulation, they were able to do so, right? And you have to also consider who decided to remain in these properties and pay this high rent. I'm going from pillar to post, not an intellectual. What are you talking about? You're not getting in the buildings old. Capitalists buy properties, charge high rents. Those aren't capitalists. Those are corporations. Those are corporatists. Well, if your whole outlook is destruction and nihilism, you can't. What are you talking about? Destruction and nihilism? Destruction and nihilism. Mamdani wants to share housing with the people. Whose houses? Who those houses belong to? Yes, the price increases and everything is nuts. Yeah, I agree. So that's what you guys believe. You guys believe that he's going to give you guys houses, and that is ultimately is not going to cost you anything. Nothing. I mean, I'm trying to help you understand this. It's the same thing I said during COVID. The same thing I said during COVID, when everybody thought they were going to get free shit. And I don't agree with the rents being raised high. But see, the government and the people allowed that to happen, right? Because of the structure of this entire country. We allowed ourselves to be placed in a position where we have to live in stack and pack houses in a nasty ass city. New York City. Do you understand that you don't have to live in New York City? Slumlords, yes. Slumlords that use the government to get away with being slumlords. And now Mamdani is going to make them stop charging you so high in rent. Using taxes to assist people. That's the idea. You want the government. Let me explain. Let me help. Let me understand this. So, Mamdani is going to take your wealth and redistribute it to help you and help other people around you. So you telling me you need Mamdani to help your community. Mamdani has to take money from your pocket, run it through the laundry system so that the end user can benefit from it. That's what you're telling me. So Mamdani is great because of this. Yes, redistribution of wealth, of your wealth. Tax the rich, feed the poor. You're still going to get taxed. Are there any New Yorkers in the building? New York City, are there any New York Cityites in here? Do you still pay taxes? Has that stopped? Has Mamdani stopped the poor in the middle class from paying taxes? We are forced to pay taxes. Shouldn't we expect great services for it? No. You should not expect that. Why would you expect that? Why would you expect that? Because you're being forced to pay the taxes by a system and an entity that can take it from you by force or the threat of force. You think that they have to do shit for you? Until another system comes, this is the best option. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. And y'all call me a nihilist. No, that's not the only option. The only option is to choose yourself. Yeah. There's another option. It's called self-autonomy. It's called self-sufficiency. It's called putting yourself in a position where you don't need them no more. Right? And then you withdraw. That's the option as well. That's not that. Yeah. I had to say it, but America's out of is the next Rome. Yep, absolutely. Even if you don't agree with the left, but we should have all agree that Republicans in control right now. Yeah, the Republicans in control is screwing the pooch by design, so that you guys can come in and pick the left, and they're going to just do what they want with the left in control. This is what they do. It's a seesaw, but it's one seesaw. You understand? Because they're all part of the same system. The system presents you these differences to give you the illusion of control, so that when you choose your side and that side fucks up, you blame yourself, and then they say, oh, now we got to choose the other side. This is nothing new. What Donald Trump is doing, what his administration is doing, they've been doing this since the establishment of the government. What are you talking about? This is back and forth, back and forth. But you guys still ascribe positive change to the system. You guys think that the system, you have to go through the system to get positive change. But we have been going through the system for 250 years. You think Donald Trump is the first president to do some silly, stupid ass shit? This has been doing what? Dunning-Kruger is strong in this one. I don't care about the Dunning-Kruger bullshit. This Dunning-Kruger shit, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just saying something. Dunning-Kruger. Because I believe that the government, the left and the right, choosing between the left and the right is not going to solve your problem. It's going to give you the illusion of solution, so that you can continue to place trust in the system. Crazy work. And then you talk about Dunning-Kruger effect. Crazy work. See, I wish I could just do like y'all and just use buzz terms to try to act like I have something intellectual to say. Oh, the Dunning-Kruger effect is strong in this one. You didn't say anything. You didn't say nothing. What did you say? You said nothing. I don't think y'all can hear me right now. Hold on. The government has spent energy and taxpayer money, divided Americans so we don't unite and rise up Yes. Yes. Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell gets it. Set up your own solar electric communities and then become energy efficient. Yes. Yes. Ian Grosvenor has the right idea. It's really simple, y'all. I mean, it takes work, but the concept, the idea is simple. The plain switch is everything you need to get to know about Trump. The plain switch. Now, my wife graduated from college. My wife graduated from college, and so these are her balloons. So, can y'all hear me? Give me a Romeo Lima Charlie if y'all can hear me. I can't read the whole chat. I can only read so much. Dave Smith. Individualism produces the means to help those in need. Collectivism drags everyone into needy position. I agree. So, listen. In principle, the principle behind what Mamdani is doing is not a problem. It's the execution. The principle of, now, whether you want to say collectivism, right? I wouldn't say collectivism is the problem. I would say community, right? Community is important if you want that. But individualism within the community is the most important thing. So if you're able to maintain your individuality, your self-autonomy, and your anarchy, right, which simply just means no rulers. All anarchy means is no rulers. Mamdani is not Robin Hood. What are we getting this from? Where are we getting this from? Now, I have some things I want to share about Mamdani that I'm not going to get into right now because I'm not at my computer. But I'm going to do a presentation on how Israel was formed, and I will do a presentation on Mamdani, and then we'll go from there. But basically what I'm saying is the concept behind what Mamdani wants to do, the principle, right? The principle, there's nothing wrong with the principle. There's nothing wrong with wanting to help your fellow man. Voluntarily, right? Voluntarily. If you want to help your neighbor simply because they're in need and you want to help them and you have the means, there's nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with some guy who claims to be the boss coming to you and forcing you to help your neighbor. Because I'm going to tell you what happens. Y'all always think when these people say that this politician is that and that politician, they tell you they're going to tax the corporations. They're going to tax the wealthy. They always tell you that. Let me tell y'all about the people that run the corporations. So you can tax the corporations, but all the corporation is going to do is pass those costs off to you. So what Mamdani is going to have to do is not only is he going to have to tax the wealthy, but he's going to have to remove all the tax incentives. He's going to have to completely change the tax code. Right? And he can only do so much from his little city. Right? The tax codes, he's going to have to do, there's a number of things he's going to have to do. Because he's not going to be able to stop taxing the people of New York, the regular citizen. And then you have to think about the small mom and pop shops that fear these grocery stores are going to drive them out of business. And yes, they're not going to serve hot food at these grocery stores, and that's supposed to make the bodega owners feel good. They still don't feel good about it, just so y'all know. Just so y'all know. But I still haven't seen a New Yorker come in here and say they have stopped taxing me. Have they stopped charging tolls just to drive around Manhattan? Have they stopped charging a tax for delivery services? Have they stopped doing that? Has the city of New York stopped that shit? Because one thing I do know about New York, if you order something on Instacart, they're going to charge you a city tax. If you drive around, if you drive around Manhattan, you're going to get charged just to drive around in Manhattan. Have they stopped that? Has Mamdani stopped that shit? What was it? When is it stopped? Distracted driving. I'm not distracted driving. See, you know what? If you guys feel like I'm distracted, then stop writing in the chat. See how that works? If you don't want me to be distracted, stop writing and I won't be distracted. Simple. Simple. You can't change everything overnight. No one's at gradual. 250 years of gradual. 250 years of gradual. Is that what you're talking about? You understand that Mamdani is only going to be able to serve 8 years at the most? And then what? Y'all think that gradual change should take 250 plus years? Is that what I'm understanding? In order to achieve something you've never achieved, you have to do something you've never done. What have we been doing for 250 years in this country? Voting, going to electing people into positions of power, choosing representatives. We've been doing that for 250 years. And here we are. But the thing I wanted to point out about Mamdani is just the grocery store itself. The grocery store costs money to operate. So while you might be getting a 30% discount on some of the food there, you're still going to have to pay taxes for the food when you go buy it. You're still going to get charged income tax. Has Mamdani stopped income tax in New York for the middle class and the poor? Yeah, I understand that under a certain gross amount per year, you don't get charged. Yeah, that happens in every state. But in order for you to earn as much money as you can, you have to pay more taxes. So basically, if you're an individual who earns a certain amount of money, you're no longer a good person. So you're one of the rich that these people in the chat are talking about, that he's going to take from to give to the poor. So if you earn over a certain amount of money and you're just trying to live your life, you're trying to earn a wage because you got to pay these high ass rents, you're a bad guy now. And they're going to be justified when they take your money and give it to the poor. That's the idea, right? It's always there's nothing new. That is not anything new. They're not doing anything new other than this fully government operated grocery store. That is the new thing that he's doing. That's the new thing. And we think it's great because it's a $30% discount. But the bottom line is that Mamdani still has to contend with the system he was elected into. So if he wants to do more than he presenting to you guys, if he wants to do as much as you feel he wants to do, he still has to contend with the system that's going to drag him through the court system. They're going to drag these corporations that use the state government to get their way, that use the federal government to get their way. He is going to be dragged through the ringer if he really is about that life. Invariably, because he is part of the system that he was elected into. So he has to operate within that system. Whereas if you wanted to do what mom, she uses the money that she gets from the people, operate a garden in the middle of the community. So she has a community garden that was on 2 different lots. One lot she owned, and the other lot she was renting basically from the city or from some corporation. The corporation wanted to sell the other lot that she's running this garden on. Do you know what she did to get that other lot? She got money from the people voluntarily. And now she owns both lots and has a community garden in Chicago. And she did not use any government money. She used the money of the people. I sent her money. Her other kids sent money. The people in the community gave her money. A private corporation. She's grown. Okay. Don't run over any kids. Don't worry, I won't. And I didn't. And I never have. And I never will. And as cleaning up this sitting no other mayor doing that nowhere. He corporations is still in front of the people. He's giving it all back through Section 8 housing. Oh man. Section 8. Do you understand that Section 8 has been in existence for decades? Do you know other states have Section 8? And food aid is that you think that he's going to what? Okay. Section 8. Section 8. That's what this guy says. He says Section 8 housing contract that goes into 2030. Section 8. Section 8 is not a new thing. You're getting confused and you're getting frustrated because you don't know about consumer laws and contracts. What are you talking about? Tell me about consumer laws and contracts. V, go ahead. Tell me about consumer laws and contracts. I'm not frustrated. Tell me every single consumer law and every single consumer contract, since you know all of it. Go ahead. Tell me. Because I don't know anything about government. I don't know anything about consumer laws and contracts. You're absolutely right. Tell me everything about it. Section 8. Section 8. That's what you're telling me. Section 8 contracts in the 2030. Okay. So Section 8 is government funded. It's funded by it's tax fund. It's funded by the taxpayer. Where is the evidence? Point me to the evidence that the corporations is funding housing. Because Section 8 does not allow for free rent. You understand that, right? No. What Section 8 does is pay the landlord the difference from what you would pay. So you are a Section 8 recipient, let's say, and the rent is $2,000. You're going to pay $200 or $300, and the government is going to pay $1,700 or $1,800 because the money still has to come from somewhere. Yeah, I know how Section 8 works. The money is there because it came from the people. What are you talking about? See, you're arguing against points that I'm not even making. And one person to get their ledger from Section 8 in food stamps, and it will go to 2030. So? What are you talking about? Because the money, the fund in that Section 8, in those food stamps, came from the fucking people, not from corporations. Some may have come from corporations, but not just corporations. It came from income tax, right? State income tax, federal income tax on their level, local taxes, property taxes, sales tax. That still come out of regular people's paychecks. New Yorkers have not stopped getting taxed. You would have to look at the ledgers. No, I don't want to look at the ledgers. You already know. You should know by heart. Tell me about the ledgers. Give me a ledger. Give me a ledger. Name a ledger. Name a corporation that has a ledger that you know about where the money is coming from. Tell me about it. Because you're arguing against points I'm not even making. You're telling me about Section 8 and the contract length. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the money that he's using for all these free programs is coming from the people. And you think that he's going to extract more from the private corporations, and that's not how it works. Go read consumer laws. Why? No, you tell me. Give me the consumer laws that will show that only corporations will fund these free programs and pay for this housing, and that the people of New York will not get taxed. Because that's all the fuck I care about. If he about that life, to fund whatever they want to fucking fund. Until you show me that's being done, until you show me that the people of New York are not getting taxed, I'm not, it doesn't move me. I don't care about consumer laws. I don't give a fuck about a law that the government creates. I don't care about a man-made law. No. Because, see, you got me fucked up. I am an anarchist. I don't give a fuck about a consumer law. Fuck a consumer law. Okay? Tell me that he has stopped income tax, property tax, sales tax for the people. And that only the corporations that have been leeching off the people, using government incentives and kickbacks, lobbying in Congress, funding these politicians to create laws to benefit them. Tell me that they are the ones who are going to pay. I'm not going to read a consumer law. Stop that. I'm not going to read a consumer law. I don't care about that. I don't care about these funds you're talking about. Because, again, these programs, these social programs, are funded by the people. If the people want to be socialist, if the people want to help each other out, help the community, help the people in need, then they can do it directly and save fucking money. The government will extract it. They will take their piece. They will skim off the top. They will give contracts to their fucking buddies who will skim off the top. And by the time the money gets to where it needs to go to provide the service that it needs to provide, it's ass service. Whereas if the community got together on its own and decided to handle some business, their money would go a lot further and benefit more people. That's not what this is about. You cannot do that with the government, because the government has to take their cut, and then the people that they hire have to get their cut, and then there's a monopoly, and then guess what? There's no competition. And when you have no competition, they don't have any incentive to provide any goods or services that are on par to where they need to be. Whereas if there is competition and there is money back, that's not going to happen. Exactly. Still the same G. No, yes, you're absolutely right. They won't. Exactly. The government already took the money. They will not give the money back to the people. That's exactly what I'm saying. Mamdani is not going to give these people a check. He's going to give them Section 8 housing. For those who need it. If you don't need Section 8 housing, you ain't getting shit. But you're still going to pay for it. Are you talking about Black Street? I'm not opposed to that. But see, with the new Black Wall Street, you got to be ready to defend that motherfucker. You got to take up arms. So when they come for your shit, and they will, you got to be ready to fight back. So yes, I am not opposed to another Black Wall Street. I'm not opposed for smaller communities, small communities working voluntarily, cohesively together to mind their own fucking business. Inflation will make us all evil millionaires soon enough. Not all of us. Every time I see your live stream, I'm reporting you for dangerous driving. Okay, congratulations. No snitches in my motherfucking chat. You can go on somewhere with that. What the government does now is hire outside blacks to ruin it. What? What are you talking about? The government do not need to hire outside black people to ruin shit. This white ran government is already ruining enough all on its own. TV. You see, the greatest beneficiary of DEI and affirmative action is white women. White women benefited the most from affirmative action and DEI hires. White women. And this is something that I showed, and I showed the receipts in my live stream last year. I showed it. I showed that. When that helicopter went down in DC, that flew into a goddamn a plane. Yeah, I talked about that then, and I showed the receipts. The group of people that benefited the most from DEI and affirmative action were white women. Period. Anyway, I gotta go, y'all. Much love, like, share, subscribe, and make sure y'all keep